Hi, my name is Lizzie. I'm going to be sharing a little bit about my experience donating my breast milk after stillbirth. I wanted to make this video just to help any other mom of loss who's trying to make that decision. My reasoning might be a little bit different as I had experienced a previous stillbirth before losing my daughter, whose milk I did donate this past year. So if I'm looking down, it's because I have notes because I have no idea what I'm saying. But the reason why I decided comes down to three different things. I initially decided that I would like to express my milk to keep as a keepsake for my daughter, to have jewelry made from her colostrum. She did not have hair like my son did, and so I wanted to be able to have something to hold on to from her. So that was one of my reasons. Another reason is that my nephew was born at 24 weeks, just a few months before my daughter was born, and he was completely dependent on human donor milk. Babies that are that young can't handle any man-made formula that there is out there. They really need human breast milk, and so knowing that he had needed that and that I had that and my baby didn't need that kind of was another reason for me to make that decision. When we had lost our son in September of 2022, we were almost 30 weeks and I was in so much shock. I did not, when my milk came in, I don't remember it being very traumatic, but it wasn't something that even crossed my mind to have donated my milk at that time. So definitely if it is a sudden or shocking loss, I wouldn't recommend that for mothers necessarily to donate their milk. I also have friends and family who have also gone through stillbirths who's found their milk supply very, very distressing and traumatizing when it came in. But for me, it wasn't that way. So I was able to make that decision knowing that my milk to me seemed like something that connected me to my baby. And I also knew that she had this sickness where she had a 1 to 3% chance of survival. So I actually had the time in those months of her fighting for her life to think about what I would want to do in the case that she did pass away and my milk supply did come in. So I had the time to make all those decisions before my baby was born. Unlike with my son, I didn't know anything was wrong until he was gone, and I did not choose to donate my milk at that time. So the three decisions was kind of my nephew's dependence kind of opened my eyes to the need for milk donors. I wanted the keepsake, so I chose to express initially, which made me think, why not continue to pump? And then again, lastly, because it was not a shock, I did have this time to think about what would be the best thing to do in the case that we did lose her. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what it looked like schedule-wise. Obviously, since I was not pumping to feed a living child, it was not as demanding as it would be, every 2 hours to wake up and feed a baby. So I think pretty much initially it probably was more often I was waking up just to get my supply established. And once I was established, I was pumping about 6 times a day, not getting very much at all, maybe 2 and 3 of those 6-ounce bags. I think at my peak, I was probably getting 15 to 20 ounces of milk a day. That was like the most I was getting. I really didn't push myself, so I needed to stay on a constant schedule so I didn't get sick, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But my goal was 1,000 ounces, and I did pump about 6 times a day, again, for that like 15 to 20 ounces goal. Unfortunately, because I was also in the grief process, there were days that were really hard and I didn't pump as much as I needed to. This can be really hard in the grief process. Just any routines are really difficult. And so I did end up developing mastitis, and after I went on antibiotics, the milk that I had was not able to be donated. And so our goal was 1,000 ounces, but by the end of my donations, by the end of my last donation, I had a total of 790 ounces that I donated from my little girl. I probably should have talked about this first, but the process of getting registered to donate is pretty easy. The milk bank has like an interest form on most sites. You go to their website. A local milk bank is where I donated my milk for my daughter. And they just filled out some medical questions, almost like intake forms for a doctor. And then I did have to go in for some very quick blood tests. And then once those blood tests got approved, probably within a few days, I was ready to be a donor. So the approval process is pretty easy. And the milk bank I went with sent me bags and sanitizing supplies. I did have to buy my own pump. And I had stuff for pumping as well, but they did provide the bags themselves, and I did have a drop-off location at my hospital, although it was an option to also send in my milk. So the milk bank had an option where they could send boxes to your house depending on the size of your donation, and then you would mail it to them at no cost to the donor. So that's just the milk bank that I went with. So overall, sorry that this video is a mess and filmed on my cell phone. I really wanted to get this out there in case there was other moms facing these decisions. I am glad that I did it. It was something during a really hard year that I could be proud of, when in so many ways I felt like a failure. Although, I know, these genetic issues were not my fault that caused my daughter to pass away, but just the guilt any mother of loss, I'm sure, understands this, that you go through when your baby's gone and you're here. It was something I could truly be proud of, donating her milk and feeling like I made a lasting impact. The milk bank that we decided to go with actually has something called an eternal memorial garden in their foyer, where they have an aspen tree, and the aspen tree is full of these little gold leaves, and these little gold leaves have the name of a baby whose milk was donated. So I have one, and then on the tree they also have put one there, so you can see Felicity, June 10th, 2023. So this is something we also put in her keepsake box that we can hold on to forever. There's just a lot of things to think about at once when you're trying to make such a, this is one of I remember even losing my son, although I never considered donating my milk, processing the worst thing that could possibly happen in my entire life, worse than my most terrible nightmares. And there were these doctors asking, do you want to donate? Do you want to, all these questions about his burial and afterlife procedures, and I just could not have any of it. So, unfortunately, having had 2 stillbirths, I have 2 experiences, and I think whatever you decide to do is the right thing for you. Whatever you and your partner think is the best thing, and you shouldn't feel pressure to donate. If it's something that you think would be healing for you, then absolutely do that. I believe it has been healing for me, and that is just my experience. But I definitely think you should just go with your gut and make the decision that's best for you. Either choose to express your milk for a souvenir and stop, donate as much as you can and then stop, or you can continue to be a long-term donor. It's definitely up to you. And where you feel, what you feel you're able to do. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and let me know. I'd love to hear your story. I will put my email in the description in case anyone wants to reach out with more questions, because I know it's a difficult subject, a difficult decision, but I hope this was helpful. All right, bye.